You know, I really like tea. Nintendo is anti-consumer. I often give Nintendo a pass for things that I wouldn't let a lot of other companies get away with without complaining. And I don't know why I do that. I suppose it's because Nintendo is different, quote-unquote, in a lot of ways. They tend to put real passion and effort into their projects. They tend to actually create some new and interesting designs for things. Even their consoles are different. They innovate somewhat, instead of being like Microsoft and Sony and just releasing a lockdown, low-spec PC every time. But Nintendo has done something terrible. And this just came on my radar yesterday from a Screen Rant article. It'll be linked down below if you want to check it out. Nintendo will remove Mario 3D Collection and Battle Royale from the eShop, and it's anti-consumer. Can totally agree with that headline. So basically what Nintendo is doing is they're coming out with this collection of some remastered games for the Nintendo Switch called Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Now that I think about it, it's probably not the best idea to call them remasters because they don't really change anything. They're not updating the graphics. It's mostly just minor tweaks to some ports for the classic titles, but it includes Super Mario 64, probably the most iconic Mario game of all time, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Now, in addition to this, they're coming out with a new Mario game called Super Mario Bros. 35, which is a Battle Royale style game that has 35 players compete with one another as they play through the original Super Mario Bros. Sounds great, right? Where's the anti-consumer part come in? Well, I'm getting to that. So, this is going to come out on September the 18th. However, on March 31st of 2021, the end of March of this next year, both of these titles are going to be ceasing production. You will not be able to buy Super Mario 3D All-Stars on the Nintendo eShop anymore. It's just going to be taken off forever. They're not going to make any more physical copies. You cannot download it. The only way you can play it is if you have purchased it digitally beforehand, in which case it will be in your library, or you have purchased a physical copy, or you purchase a used physical copy after they've ceased producing it. If it's past March 31st and you haven't bought this, stinks to be you unless you can find some rare used copy that's probably going to sell for a ton more money than it's worth on eBay. You're out of luck. You can't play it. But it gets worse. That Super Mario Bros. 35 Battle Royale game, that's only playable until March 31st. And then it's gone. You can't play it anymore. You buy that game, and you can only play it until March 31st. This is terrible. This is an awful, awful thing. Why on earth would you release two games, one a collection of some older titles that have been poured over, and one a Battle Royale game, and have it be a limited window where you can play it? That is absolutely awful. Can you imagine buying a game and then the developers telling you, oh, you can only play this for a limited time, and after that, it won't exist anymore. It'll just be gone. Let me think of a game. Okay, let's say you like Team Fortress 2. I use that as an example because that's a game that I really enjoy playing and I put a lot of time into it. Now, Team Fortress 2 is free to play. You can download it, you can play it as much as you want for however much time you want. Let's say that it wasn't free to play. Let's say you had to pay $60 for it. And then you could only play it for 6 months. And then after 6 months, they were going to shut it down and you can't play Team Fortress 2 anymore. Like, what the actual stink? That is so terrible. Like, I get it. Sometimes you buy a game, Lawbreakers comes to mind. Sometimes you buy a $60 game and then they fail to be able to keep running it. Not enough people paid any attention. They don't have the money as a company to run the game anymore. Then they have to shut it down. I get that. That always stinks, but I get it. That makes sense. But it isn't like this. It's not like Nintendo is shutting down or they're shutting down their project because it won't make them any money. No, this is purposefully just a limited time game that you can only play for a short period of time that you're going to be paying full price for. It's not like it's a little free-to-play game that you can download. No, this is something you have to pay full price for. And then it just goes away. Why? Why on earth would you do this? That's the problem. Nintendo gets away with way too much crap. Okay, I can go on and on about having to pay it's only $25 a year or $20 a year, but that's still too much to play your own games multiplayer on their console. Whereas before it was free, like on the Wii and the Wii U. They started doing that because Microsoft and Sony were doing that, and it was free money left on the table. I can go on about how it wasn't until 2 years ago that they would go after YouTube creators for playing their games, unless you were in the Nintendo Creators Program where they took most of your money. Then they would copyright claim you if you played any Nintendo games on YouTube or had any Nintendo stuff on there. It was only 2 years ago they cut that crap out. This has just been a problem for a very, very long time. And I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Nintendo for doing this, and I think this is an awful, awful move. So everybody seems to be very baffled and upset with this. You're probably going to see a lot more YouTube videos on this if there aren't some being made by the time I'm recording this. But this is terrible. I honestly hope that there's enough uproar that Nintendo backs down and says, okay, fine, we won't remove this. But knowing how Nintendo operates as a company, I doubt that's going to happen. But I'm not going to buy this. I mean, I don't have a Switch, so I'm not going to buy it anyway. But if I did have a Switch, I wouldn't buy this. As much as this would be fun and interesting to play, I'm not going to buy this because I don't want to support this type of stuff. So, yeah, if you have a Nintendo Switch and you want to buy this remastered collection, please don't. Don't do it. Don't support Nintendo for doing this. Don't play the Battle Royale version of the thing. Don't do it. Spend the money, spend the time on some other game. It's not worth it. Go back and play the original classics, but don't buy the newer collection port. Don't play the Battle Royale game because Nintendo should not be supported for this. If anything, they should be called out. And I hate to do that. I really do. I hate going after companies and I hate having to chide somebody, but this is awful. This is awful. This is like what EA does every year when they come out with a new Madden game, which that's been in the news recently. They come out with a new Madden game every year that you have to pay $60 for, and then the next year they just make a few little minor changes. You have to pay $60 again and all your progress has been reset. Except even then, you can still play the old games. You can still play the old games that you've paid for. It's not that it's just, you can't play it anymore. Now, that's just the Battle Royale. You could still play the All-Stars collection if you've bought it, but you can't buy it anymore if you didn't buy it in the first 6 months. Dang, what a terrible policy. And the reason I don't want Nintendo to get away with this is because if they get away with it, you better believe other people are going to start trying to do the same thing. They'll try. Now, most of them probably wouldn't get away with it as well as Nintendo did, but they'll try. And I don't want to see anybody get away with this. I don't want to see this become a trend in gaming. But yeah, guys, that was my take on this. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think this is a bad move for Nintendo? Do you think that maybe this is a good strategy for them? And if so, why? What do you think about that? Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'd love to engage and interact with you guys and hear what you have to say. Maybe get a little argument going. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, till next time, I've been your host, Cass Gaming. Follow me on Twitter for some thoughts and hot takes as stuff develops. Check out our Discord server. It's a fun little community. Subscribe if you like stuff like this. Leave a like on the video. And until next time, I will see you all at the top.
I'm about to end this man's whole career. Aside from my soul.